If you have an irregular cycle, the question of pregnancy can be a constant source of stress and confusion. It's a really common concern, and today we're going to demystify this together and give you some clear answers.
This is the big question, isn't it? If your period doesn't show up like clockwork, it's the first thing that pops into your head. You are definitely not alone in asking this. So let's get straight to the facts.
Okay, first things first, we need to get on the same page. Before we can even talk about pregnancy, we have to define what an irregular cycle actually is. And, the definition might surprise you.
It's really that simple. An irregular cycle just means the time from one period to the next isn't consistent. That textbook 28-day cycle, it's actually not the norm for a lot of women. Having it vary by a few days or even a few weeks is super common.
And when you look at the common causes, so many of them are just, life. Everyday things like stress, a few bad nights of sleep, or a new workout routine can throw your cycle off. It can also take a few months for things to regulate after stopping hormonal birth control. A lot of the time, it's just your body reacting to your environment.
All right, let's get to the heart of the matter. We've established that cycle length can vary. But what's the one thing that is absolutely crucial for a pregnancy to happen?
And here it is, the single biggest takeaway from our entire discussion today. Yes, you can absolutely get pregnant with an irregular cycle. Let that sink in for a second. It's not about having a perfect schedule.
So here's the key distinction. Getting pregnant doesn't depend on how long your cycle is. It depends entirely on if and when you ovulate. That's when an egg is released. That is the main event. The cycle length is just the container it happens in.
Now, this is the real challenge. An irregular cycle doesn't mean you don't ovulate. It just means the day you ovulate can change from month to month, which makes those standard calendar-based predictions pretty much useless. The key isn't to fix your cycle, it's to figure out when ovulation is happening.
So, if you can't rely on a calendar, what can you rely on? Your own body. It sends out signals, and in this next section, we're going to learn how to read them. Think of this as your personal toolkit for understanding your fertility.
There are basically two main ways to track down this ovulation window. First, by paying close attention to the physical cues your body is giving you, and second, by using simple at-home tests to get a more concrete biological confirmation.
So what are you actually looking for? Well, around ovulation, your cervical mucus can change to a clear, stretchy consistency, almost like raw egg white. Some women also feel a slight twinge or pull in their lower abdomen, often on one side, and breasts can feel a bit more tender. These are all signs your body is getting ready.
For a more scientific approach, ovulation tests are incredibly helpful. They work by detecting a surge in something called luteinizing hormone, or LH, in your urine. This LH surge is the trigger that tells your ovary it's time to release an egg, and it happens just before you ovulate. Okay, so you're tracking your signs, but sometimes it's still confusing. How do you tell the difference between early pregnancy symptoms and just another weird cycle? Let's tackle that uncertainty.
And here's the frustrating part. The symptoms can be identical. Fatigue, sore breasts, a little bit of nausea. These can be signs of hormonal shifts within your cycle or signs of early pregnancy. This overlap is exactly why it's so hard to know what's going on.
This sums it up perfectly. It's so important. I'll say it again. An irregular cycle does not rule out pregnancy. It just makes the timing a bit of a detective game. And that's a game you can absolutely learn how to play.
Now, if you're feeling a bit lost in all these signs and symptoms, sometimes a more structured approach can help. Certain online tools or quizzes can act as a guide to help you organize your observations and get a clearer picture. For example, these tools might walk you through a series of questions about your symptoms and cycle patterns. Based on your answers, they can offer a preliminary assessment to help you sort things out. Just remember, it's a tool for orientation, not diagnosis.
And this is absolutely critical. These online tools are for guidance and information only. They are no substitute for a medical-grade pregnancy test or a conversation with your doctor. If you think you might be pregnant, the only way to know for sure is with a proper test.
So we'll end with this thought. The biggest takeaway from all of this is empowerment. Instead of focusing on the unpredictability of an irregular cycle, the real power comes from learning to listen to your body. So the question isn't just, can I get pregnant, but how well do you really know the signals your body is sending you right now?